folks, here we are in the beginning of the Advent season, celebrating the coming of Jesus, celebrating the anticipation of hope. And you and I have this opportunity that's incredible to share the good news and to point others towards the promise of Jesus Christ. If you go back and look in the book of Isaiah in chapter 7, verse 14, you hear these words, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and we will call him Emmanuel, God with us." Emmanuel. Here these people were wandering in the hardships of life, and they were given the promise of the coming of a Messiah. And he came. And you and I today, let's be honest, there are times in our life when we find ourselves wandering, aren't there? There are times when we find ourselves beaten down by life. There are times when we find ourselves when we just don't know which way to turn and that life is difficult. Well, folks, I'm here to remind you this morning that Jesus is real. He's alive, and He wants to have an operation in your life today by you just opening your heart and just come in and let the power of the Holy Spirit dwell within you. Come in and have that personal experience, not just a head knowledge, but a heart knowledge of who Jesus is. And then you can find that hope. You can find that promise. To know that even in those moments when we're going to be in our hardship, when we're going to be in our difficulty, there is a bigger picture. There's a kingdom picture. And in that picture, Jesus is all about it. And He's all in charge. And He wants us to be able to walk with Him daily. And what a blessing that is. So church, this morning, as you think about where you are in your relationship with Him, I want you to think about this. The world needs light. And if you love Jesus, you've got that light. And you remember that little song you learned as a child? This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. That second verse is, hide it under a bushel? No. I'm going to let it shine. I want to encourage every believer this morning, as we move through this Advent season, let's take every opportunity that we get to share the light of Christ, to share the hope that's within us.